Well, that B-roll, I have never seen, on the DVD extended footage, scenes that were cut out. I have never seen that.
I mean, we think that there's other material, probably not extensive amounts, just because of obviously how constricted the shooting would have been, with the kids and everything. But we, as part of this exhibition we had downstairs, there was actually original contact sheets from the on-set photography, and a lot of the famous stuff like the sheds and the dog stuff was in the contact sheet. But there were a few photographs which aren't in the film. So whether they were just rehearsed or they were shot or not, we don't really know.
And how about the costumes? That amazing dress that
we looked around, but we couldn't find any. So I'm surprised though. A lot of Italian costumes were made as replicas after the fact. So Claudia Cardinale's dress and the leopard, which we showed here, was made within 3 months of the making of the film. But they wanted to make it in order to use it as a promotional item because she sweat through the other one.
Yeah, well, they had usually 3 of them, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I guess they didn't really want to make replicas of anything from this movie, so probably didn't qualify for that.
And the fact that he was murdered right before it came out really put another damper on it.
Exactly.
I mean, that wasn't
be celebrated.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
This version that we saw, I think this is about the 150-minute long version, is like a half an hour shorter than the version that was premiered.
Really?
The first year it was 145 minutes long.
There isn't, yeah, but that was cut immediately.
The other half hour was
I don't think it was ever released in any
It was never
country.
released that way. It was actually just kind of a rough cut of the movie. So, so maybe I'll grab someone from the back first, but why not go ahead?
No, I think we should all come next time and wear the costumes like Rocky Horror and yell out the lines.
That sounds like fun.
I do that with 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. I love abortion movies.
Fantastic. Is there anyone else?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I think that through the binoculars, the violence is the end is more voyeurism, and it's more evil because you've ordered this, but you're not there. You get to watch it truly as evil voyeurism, masturbatory pornography, rather than having to do it. If you were the killer, it would be, in a way, this is even one remove that you're ordering it up to watch it, which is probably even more evil in a way. I think that is probably why.
But actually, there are a lot of people who, it's funny, we were talking to Adam Goyen, and he said he can't watch the last 20 minutes of the movie. Like everything else in the film, he has no problem with. I mean, it's obviously affecting and disturbing, but he just can't watch that last 20 minutes because there's something about that extra remove, the iciness of it, that just finds incredibly disturbing. In a very
Except when they
different way.
dance, though, at the end. That's so touching. It's really beautiful. Did anyone have a Salo story for us? I was hoping one person could tell us a Salo story of their own. Okay, you have one? Okay, speak loudly so we can all hear.
Well, my uncle's a general practitioner in Nova Scotia, and about 15 years ago, my cousin, either through an act of defiance or some Freudian retention issue, refused to hit for a few years. And it was in building, it was becoming such a great degree of acrimony throughout the entire household that, and I think it was like Christmas Eve, and they were just having some wine, and they were just kind of looking at each other and thinking like, why don't we give him an enema? And being a general practitioner, he actually has, a lot of stuff on hand to actually do. And so they bring him down, and he's like, they give him one, and he's just defiant as hell. And then they just say, okay, let's just give him another one. And as one of those greatest happenstances for judging, like a real inverse lottery, the dishwasher was popped open a jar, and his trajectory was quite solid. So needless to say,
Keep going.
You want to take notes, John?
No, what happened? The end?
He sprayed into the dishwasher.
Oh, we sprayed
I
the
think.
dishwasher, okay.
And then
That's a good one. Anybody have another one? I'll tell one. You know, once I thought up teabagging in my movie, so I thought, well, we need more new sex acts. So I thought, well, at Christmas we need some. So everybody's heard of a pearl necklace. So I think we should have a string of lights. That's when you eat multicolored vegetables and have multicolored loads, and that's called a string of lights. And then once you've done that, everybody's heard of a facial. Well, in the winter, you live in Toronto, you get a facial, and then you go outside, let it freeze, and you come back in and call it a snowman. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Snowman. Checking at Remington's on that one, maybe. Yes, on the side.
Unfortunately, I had a story, but since I work here, it takes place in this theater, and that particular assistant manager is on shift. It's not going to happen. My question has to do with the... That's right. My question has to do with the fact that there are sort of rare depictions of seeming pleasure or consensual sex in the film. There's the isolated acts where the guy is with the servant, and the two women
And dies for
sort
it,
of
right,
breaking
yeah.
the rules. And I was just wondering sort of how you felt, given that everything else is sort of about displeasure, sadism, and non-consensual.
Well, that's very Desaad. The one normal thing you're punished for the most, where everything that's the most perverted, worst stuff is rewarded. So that's what everything. I mean, Justine in the novel she was good and everything bad happened to her. Juliet was evil and all good stuff. So it was always backwards. That was what Sade was, really. I mean, talk about famous. His name became a sex act. So I'm jealous, really. And he became, that was the humor of it almost, that it was so terrible and so crazy and that nothing ever was rewarded good. So it was the opposite of karma, basically. And so that's why I think there is some humor in there, because it's so ludicrous and so crazy, and so I think that is why it is so effective to me.
I think that we're
Getting to the yes,
okay,
everyone's
we'll
exhausted
take one or two more.
from an evening of filth, right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was Princess Summerfall Winter Spring, one of my idols when I was a child. What's a good name, isn't it? Like, she was the Indian on the Howdy Doody show, and it was, I guess, my first goddess, really. A puppet. No, she wasn't a puppet. She was a human. And she later was in Jailhouse Rock with Elvis Presley and was killed in a car accident.
If we have one more, we can take it. Otherwise, we'll move on. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering how you would explain why you like that film.
I didn't, the only movie, that's his new
You
movie,
inspired
right?
it,
And
yeah.
I haven't seen it. I'm a huge fan of his work. I love every one of his movies. I'm a friend of Greg's. I've known him from the very beginning. The only one I haven't seen is the new one.
Yeah, well, you know, he tells the story that you came up to him and you said, well, that these wonderful films you're making like Mysterious Skin are great and all, but I really miss the old Greg Araki.
Yeah.
And that inspired him to make Kaboom.
Oh, well,
So-
I'm dying to see it. I love Mysterious Skin really a lot, too, and I'm a big fan of the novel. I'm a big fan of Scott Heim, who wrote it. So I think Greg's great, and I think he has great soundtracks, too. I have all his soundtracks. And so I'm dying to see it.
Well, how would you explain his other films
To me, they're original. They're completely an auteur's work. I mean, you can immediately tell it's a Greg Araki movie by watching it. It's about L.A., about music, about sex, about youth, about yearning to rebel. It was about AIDS. He was the first person ever that made a transgressive AIDS movie. I think he believes in the sexual politics that I believe in, no separatism, and defying by anarchy with sexual and hetero flexibility, and everything mixed up, and sexual anarchy, and I think that's what he's about in a beautiful, sexy way. Let's end it on that positive.
What a
note.
lovely tribute. Thank you very much, John Waters. That was
Thank
great.
you very much for having me.